Today is Good Friday, and our Holy Week reflection is written by local preacher and supernumerary minister Sandra Heap. Sandra shares her story. Good Friday. Jesus, the Messiah? He is our deliverer from all that constrains. It was Good Friday, and I was 9 years old, and I had been on a walk of witness. It was the custom for the local Sunday schools to have a walk of witness around the town in a different area each year. Each Sunday school had its own banner, and the march stopped on the way to sing a hymn, be led in a short prayer, and a short reading from Scripture, ending back at our own church, where the children who had walked all the way round received the gift of an orange. We were all back home for dinner, which was always fish. I wasn't allowed to play outside or play inside. Good Friday was the day to read our Bibles and think on what Jesus had done for us on the cross. At 9 years old, my thinking couldn't have been very profound, but I can still remember sitting at our fireside, it was a cold early Easter that year, thinking about Jesus on the cross. As dinner was being prepared in the kitchen, I promised God that I would always love and follow Jesus, who had suffered such a cruel death for me. When I was older and married with a child, I didn't go to chapel for a while. The church I had attended was in a redevelopment area and had closed down. The new church was a bus ride away or a long walk with the pram. Then I had a second child and wanted to have her baptized. I discovered there was a new minister who agreed to baptize my daughter on condition I began to attend church again. By then, I lived much closer to the new church and began to take both girls on a Sunday morning, despite the attitude of some who didn't like children in church. There was no creche, so I gave up taking them because of the comments and the displeasure of some. On the 1st of April 1980, my mum died. I knew I couldn't walk into the church on Saturday for her funeral unless I made my peace with God. It was Good Friday, and I knew there would be a service, so I slipped into the church, hopefully unnoticed, and quickly left before anybody could speak to me. In there, my prayer was that I would come to know Jesus, not just know about him. This time, I wanted to know this man who had died for me. I wanted to get to know the Jesus who my parents knew, the Jesus they knew personally. When my dad died, I knew the first thing my mother did was to get down on her knees and ask God in Jesus for his help. This was the man I wanted to know. I wanted more than Bible stories. I began a correspondence course to get to know the Bible more. During a study on Romans, I came across these words in Romans chapter 10, verses 14 and 15. Perhaps you might like to read them for yourself later. There, I found my call to preach, leading to a call to ministry. Many years later, when I was a student minister at Queen's College, I was in the chapel at Easter, and I noticed that someone had set up a nativity scene under the altar table. The picture I saw was the coming of Jesus, born in an outhouse, laid in an animal trough. The same Jesus I could see on the chapel wall, overhanging the cross, risen, resurrected, and ascended. This same Jesus, the Messiah, redeeming me from my sin, forgiving me when I failed him, bringing new life to those living in darkness, including me. Jesus the Messiah? Yes, when I was 9 years old. Yes, in a college chapel. Yes, today, Good Friday. May God bless you with his love and power, demonstrated on a cross of wood today, Good Friday.